Okay.
We were going live, but.
All right, we're here, episode 30, Retro Bar Podcast, and we are in the dining area of Nonna Rosa in Akron. And we're going to let Rosa, restaurant named after her. That's why Kelly's Entertainment is Kelly's Entertainment, because that's my name too.
Awesome.
All right, we're going to let her talk a little bit about introducing herself, and then we'll just chit-chat about whatever she wants to.
Yeah, and episode number 30.
It is episode number 30.
And
we're on the road again. We're on the road again.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to be able to get out and actually see the places that we're.
Yeah, no, this on the road thing is all right. You know,
Awesome.
we did 25 episodes in my basement, which worked out fine. We had people on and sat behind my bar, but it's sort of neat getting out.
Yeah, sign a waiver so you wouldn't trip over a wire that was across the
Yeah, it wasn't OSHA. It wasn't OSHA approved. I mean, it's a nice area, but there was a cord that, you know.
Technicalities.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so you own this restaurant.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
That's all Paul's doing. He's my salesman.
Yes, does a good job. So yeah, my name is Rosa. I am one of the 4 owners here. So we own the restaurant with, it's myself, my husband, and then my sister Marissa and her husband.
Okay.
We've been in the restaurant industry for a really long time, kind of dating back to my parents. My parents immigrated from Italy in the late 70s and started pizza shop businesses in this area, mainly known as Two Cousins. So my dad started the first Two Cousins out in Mount Joy and then kind of grew from there.
So every Two Cousins that I see is sort of like a franchise of him, or?
So that's it's a little tricky. They're more independent operators, and so there is no formal franchise structure to it.
Okay.
So the core were the same, whereas in like all the Two Cousins make their own sauce, their breads, a lot of similar recipes and menu structures, but the day-to-day operations definitely run differently depending on which one you go to.
Kind of like Caruso's, I guess.
Yes.
They have different ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So starting at the beginning, your parents had, pizza shops, you said.
Yes.
So was that in the family, cooking and?
So cooking was always part of our day-to-day stuff, our day-to-day routine, right? So my dad doesn't necessarily come from a family or a history of restaurateurs, but he does come from a family of entrepreneurs. So coming to the States for him was like a really big deal, and being able to kind of start projects and seeing a market that was like really excited and hungry for our style of food was exciting for him. So, and he always says pizza's recession proof. So I definitely have to agree with him.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, because you're trapped. Even if you don't have money to go out and do things, you can always get a pizza.
Yeah, you get a pizza pie, and it's 4 people off of it, and it's like a quick $15, and it's cheaper than McDonald's these days. Actually, if you think about it.
I haven't been to a McDonald's in a long, long time, but I will probably say you're right on that.
Yeah.
So when did he come here?
So he immigrated to the States in like the mid-70s, and then went back to Italy, got married, and then with my mom arrived in like 78. And then he's opened up in the Mount Joy area like in the 80s. So he was in like the Harrisburg area, and then kind of migrated to Lancaster. And again, Mount Joy was his first kind of opening base. And then I vividly recall as a young kid at Brownstown and then New Holland, and he opened up Paradise, and Mountville was my aunt. So then he would open them and sell them to like family members, or rent them off, or they would work together.
Now, in the original one, I can only assume that it was him and his cousin.
Yes, originally. So his cousin.
Why would they call it Two Cousins?
Yes, it was him and his cousin, and then his cousin, after like literally 6 months to a year, bailed on him and went back to this.
Stuck with the name. Then.
Yeah,
the guy still gets a little credit.
And went back to Italy. He ended up doing a different type of business. I'm not sure what he ended up doing, but then my dad just kind of carried on with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should have changed it to one cousin.
I know. Yeah.
You're kind of like, you're now.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Might as well go with it. It was working, so he continued continued on. So yeah,
Were you born in the U.S.? Or
I was.
Okay.
So I was born in the U.S., but then I have a sister who was born in Italy. So, so Marissa was born in Italy.
Okay.
Is she older?
No, she's young. I'm the oldest. So we've always kind of been 1 foot here, 1 foot there. So, so it was me and my brother that were born here, and then my mom. We were over in Italy for like a year, 6 months, and that's where my sister was born.
Okay.
And then we came back, and then we were here for a while, and then we moved back to Italy for 3 years. But we would go back like every summer. So that's kind of like the reason why. So we ended up having like our own little 2 cousins. So myself and my husband managed or owned the one by Sharp Shopper.
Oh, okay.
And then my sister and Reno in Columbia Avenue, and they had the one in Mannheim also. And so then the opportunity came up to kind of purchase this location. Piero's had been here for
Right.
over 30 some years.
Oh, really? That long?
Years.
Yeah,
I remember when it was put in.
Time.
Wow.
Years.
Yeah,
we're older
well,
than, we're older
no.
than
Yeah, 35 years I want to say. It's a long time. Yeah.
You're old now.
Yeah.
So then you decided you're going to branch off of 2. So is this the first Nonna Rosa location, or is it
Correct.
the only Nonna Rosa?
It's the only Nonna Rosa
But
location.
didn't you open something near Lids? Like I haven't been to.
Yeah,
that
so that's more of a pizza shop. So that's Lotus Pizza Company.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it doesn't operate under like Nonna Rosa.
No,
Part 2 or
so the distinction the distinction between like the 2 cousins who are Lotus Pizza Company and then Nonna Rosa is more just the way the level of dining and the level
Okay,
of,
right.
or the quality is always there,
right,
obviously,
but the choices are.
yes,
Yeah.
and so we make our own pasta here, we make our own meatballs, we make our own sausage, so there's a lot more recipes from scratch.
Right.
You know, the pizza shops are more pizzas and cheesesteaks and subs, and very limited pasta options.
Okay.
Whereas in here, that's kind of like our main focus.
dinner.
Yeah, full dinner. And for us, it was more reminiscing of like, hey, do you remember when we would go to Italy in the summers and, you know, grandma and grandpa used to have, you know, get friends over, what would we eat? We would eat, you know, meatballs, and we would eat fried calamari, and we would eat this, and we would eat that. So we would brainstorm on like different things that
Yeah.
our grandmother would, you know, put together, and that's kind of what our menu is based off of, and some of the recipes are, you know, the meatball recipes are hers, and a few other, like the lasagna one is kind of like a tweak for hers.
Okay.
But anyway, so a lot of the things that we make here is kind of more in remembrance of those awesome summers over there.
Yeah. So is your dad still in the business?
He's semi-retired.
Semi-retired.
Yeah, my brother kind of has taken over his restaurant. Yeah.
Now, does he get? Would your dad still, even though it's not a franchise, but because they're using that name, does he like get a little bit of royalties from every? Or so basically, he opens them and sells them, and then he's done with that
That's
location. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Do what you're good at. Huh?
Yeah,
Well, right.
that's it.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
Well, that's what Ray Kroc did with McDonald's. He
Yeah.
built them, and then McDonald's really turned into they were more a real estate company than
Yes.
a restaurant company.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
they made their money
Yeah.
building the buildings, and
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. I watched that. That movie was a really good one.
Okay, I only saw bits and pieces.
Oh no,
of
that was a great. I forget the name of it, but that was a great movie.
I do forget the name. I know it was about Ray Kroc, but I forget
Yeah,
the name
so
of the movie.
I don't remember, but it talks about like the brothers who actually started McDonald's and
Yeah.
how they were very focused on like the food piece of it, and then this other guy, Ray, comes in and he takes it to another level where he
Right.
makes it a corporation, a trademark, and then
And
kind of rolls out all these franchises and really kind of.
but a little different is, like you said, each location of a 2 cousins sort of does things a little bit their own way,
Correct.
where McDonald's, you do it their way,
Yeah,
or you don't do it.
Exactly. Whereas in that level of organization
Yeah.
structure,
Yeah.
it wasn't something
Yeah,
that
there's no
wasn't part of the vision, I
there's
guess.
no 2 cousins college you have to go to
No,
at McDonald's.
no university.
Yeah.
No TC University. Nope.
So, you feel you're doing well here? I think you're doing well.
Yeah, we're really happy. We're great to, you know, we're very grateful for being part of the community here. We started off, so it'll be 3 years. We opened September 30th of 19. So we opened almost exactly 6 months before the pandemic.
What a sucky time to.
Yeah, so it was quite the challenge. So we had a really good, we had an awesome 6 months. I mean, incredible. I don't know that we even expected the reception that we received. I guess from an entrepreneur perspective, you kind of have an idea and you put together a plan and then you kind of build upon it and then you just kind of put it out there in the market and then just kind of hope and pray that it goes well and that it's received well.
I think coming in here as an Italian restaurant after Piero's, and you know, how long was this like not in operation before you bought it from Piero's?
So it was closed for about 18 months.
Okay.
So we had bought it and
it
it took us a while to kind of restructure the place.
But I think people got used to Piero's, and I'll be, you know, I'm not cutting anybody down here, but Piero's in the heyday towards Piero's at the end were two different places.
Absolutely.
And so I think the people that remembered the good Piero's and sort of phased themselves out because it wasn't what it used to be near the end, like I didn't come anymore.
Right.
And now you moved in, you're brand new, it sort of brought back, not that you're the same as them, but it brought back an Italian restaurant in this area. You know what I mean?
So to Piero's credit, and I actually always give, I know Piero has, you know, people have their own opinions about
I don't
whoever
really know
it is,
in
right?
person. I just
So
know.
what I can tell you though is that this is a grueling business. So this is a tough business.
Oh yeah, well any restaurant.
Yeah, so 3 decades, kind of managing this on your own takes quite a toll on you physically, emotionally, mentally. So I can only imagine what he went through to kind of run this place by itself. So I totally understand, not that it's excusable, how there's a deterioration just because of.
Well, you lose your motivation.
Exactly.
And we definitely went through a lot of fights to get here.
Yes.
So I mean, not only just the building and like the sidewalks and all the rest of the stuff and the strip mall, because I think he had that too. Right?
Yes.
He had that.
Yes.
So he was managing that and getting that approved, and then you know the beer license, that whole thing that he fought through because you know MCC as
dry.
Yeah, John said last week that MCC had brought up you know, a lot of it.
I had heard that was a myth, but I don't know
No. That's Akron. I think Piero's was the first in Akron Borough, probably the first place since Prohibition that was able to sell beer.
He was. I think he found a clause in one of the Akron borough laws where if a population grows to a certain number, then you can apply for some kind of liquor license. Also, one moment, please. So that you can apply for a liquor license, and so he was able to, working with a lawyer or something like that, able to find that.
He was only able to sell beer and wine though.
Yeah, so that was part of
you guys are now full bar.
Yeah, so that was part of one of the first challenges that we took on. So we opened in September. We had an awesome first 6 months, and then kind of towards like the new year, like towards what would it be, 2020, we started with a petition process. So we consulted with lawyers and then the Lancaster County Board of Elections, and the consensus was that if we wanted to sell alcohol, we had to actually get it approved on a municipal level. And so we had to actually change the law here in Akron. So it's not that, so anybody can come to basically Akron and open to have
you set the precedence,
right?
Yeah.
So we basically had to go and knock on people's doors and get people's signatures to actually approve that. And so we were able to get 600 signatures. It was a certain percentage of people that had voted primary elections or whatever. We presented that, and so then the question went on the ballot as far as a referendum. And then the pandemic had hit, and I think primary elections were initially slated for like April, and then because of the pandemic they got pushed back to June. And then it showed up on the ballot, and it was actually quite overwhelming. It was like a 74%, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Well, yeah. People, I mean,
I think the town's evolved.
Well, right. That was an old law, and nobody ever. It just was what it was, and nobody ever challenged it. I guess. Well, now you got what next door here, and behind the building, you got Truly Brewing.
So they're next door.
That's okay.
Yes,
I wasn't sure which side.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so they're like a microbrewery.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, they're good guys. We carry their
I was
beer
going
all
to
the
ask.
time. Yeah.
You don't have to go far to get it.
No. Yeah, they have a for sure customers. So
Yeah, a good plan on their part, I guess. But
so you got this 3 years plus ago.
yes.
Fixed it up, redid it, opened it up, and the 4 of you were running it.
Yes.
So so obviously in your past, family works together fairly well.
Yes.
You know,
Not always well.
I'm gonna say
Not always.
that doesn't always work in every family.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it's a challenge working with your significant other.
And we brought this up before. My wife, I announced on some other podcast that I couldn't work with my wife. I couldn't, and I like.
And I would totally agree with her. That you're tough.
Wow.
I run a tight one time Paul was 1 minute late for the podcast.
Oh, goodness.
I texted him, "Where are you?"
Yeah.
So he got his first written warning. I gave him a written warning.
It wasn't even live. It was recorded. There was nothing to be on time for.
I'm a stickler, man.
I can tell.
I couldn't work.
So as a four people running it, do you each have your own little niche? Or are you all try and do everything?
We do. We kind of have like certain tasks segregated, and then there's overlapping just kind of management of the day-to-day.
So like maybe one of these is more of a food oriented, the other one maybe more financial oriented.
Yeah, and then there's a service person, and then the whole alcohol piece adds like another level to it as far as like ordering, and we try to like push like specials of seasonal cocktails and things like that. So there's that element of making sure that we're on top of what's trending, and do we have all the supplies and things like that. So
and then you have Copperfield Circle, the pizza place over in Lidditz. Right. So I mean, and that's you 4 of you also, correct?
Well, so it used to be that we were kind of there day to day and physically there, but now we've leased it to a cousin of my brother-in-law's. And so it's just, so they're doing the day-to-day stuff, and we're kind of like overseeing them. Honestly, like this place is so big, and there's not just a lot of like responsibility and liability, and the staff, number of staff is so, it's such a big number that it's important for kind of all of us to be here, so that we're then properly giving each other breaks, because it does take a toll, and we don't want to end up like, like
Poor
guy.
Where you're by yourself and you're swimming in this ocean.
Well,
I know you're right. I have a lot of respect for Piero.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to be here last year when you had his birthday.
Yes. Yes.
It was great to see him again. And
so that's one thing that I do have to give him props for. So my dad has worked in this business for a long time, and we buy and sell all the time, right? So none of us were, and I have even purchased, and we've bought a business and sold it too. And I'm not one to necessarily go back and be like, hey, how's everything going? And not because I don't, we send messages and stuff like that, but I mean, I know Piero's a little retired. Exactly, you don't want somebody to think like, oh goodness, like, is she?
Can't you leave me alone?
Can't you just cut the milk before everything? But Piero's been very supportive of us. So he'll come once every 2-3 weeks. He'll come grab a coffee. How's it going? You guys doing okay? Granted, he's like maybe retired now, and so he has more time, and he feels like
he has
this
more
is a
time,
stop for him.
I mean, I guess he has more time, and he doesn't have to look at you as competition.
Correct. Yes.
If he was still in business down the road, maybe.
But he wishes us well all the time. He comes in, supports us, and that's great. No, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
remember
really
when
cool.
he started, not here, but way, in East Calico on 272, and that little strip mall he had. Piero's up there.
Okay.
That was an itty bitty little.
See, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Was that in Denver or no? Or was that the San
Right
Maria's?
on 272.
I didn't even know.
Gas Zins, where Zins was.
Sort of where Z is now. Or
yeah, you know what? Because then they ripped that whole strip mall down and they put that there. I think that's what, because it was almost as big as this one.
Oh, okay.
It was just a couple shops, and he started. That's where he started, and then he built this.
Okay.
Here, but yeah, he definitely.
So every business, every two cousins, the building was bought. Like you don't really lease, other than maybe Copperfield Circle, but you own this building. Like
Yes.
you and every two cousins, you bought the building.
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
No, there's a few spots where they're in strip malls.
I always thought if you at all can afford to buy your physical building, it would be the way to go.
Yeah.
Because you're not under a lease, you're not having somebody kicking you out when you're not ready to get out.
Well, I mean, there's some
You can
benefits
call-
to leasing.
Well, there is. You don't have the
Snow
upkeep and
removal
all that, but
maintenance and all that.
Yeah, my
stuff
roof is leaking, come fix it.
right.
Yeah.
I don't have to
Okay.
deal with it. My AC unit doesn't
Yeah.
work, come fix it. I mean,
But at the end of the day, then
Yeah.
when if at the time comes where either you're retiring or you just want to get out of it, you don't have near as much to sell.
right, well, yeah, so this is
It's like
kind of
leasing
like
a house,
part of our
basically.
401k, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we don't have a necessarily
Right.
like a 401k.
But the
Yeah.
building,
But yeah,
the
yeah,
property
absolutely.
itself
Yeah, sure.
is
It makes sense.
is an
I
investment.
mean,
Yeah.
there's definitely different business models depending on people's style of running business, and so there's restaurateurs who think, hey, this is more of a quick service. I'm just leasing buildings. I can go in and out whenever I need to if I need to break a lease because
Yeah.
it's easier for me. I don't have to burden my staff with cleaning the sidewalk if it
Right.
snows, cutting the grass, things like that. But then you have the owner-operator side where it's like, well, I want this building because I want to take care of it, I want to paint it, I want to nail whatever it is on the wall, things like that. So,
Now staffing.
yes,
Staffing, I see you as well as every other place on earth has a help wanted sign.
yeah,
I know just about every food service, like I do trivia, so I get around all these places, and some have it worse than others staffing wise. Are you doing all right? I mean, you need help, but
Yeah.
you're pretty staffed okay?
yeah, we actually, and Paul could probably vouch for this, we have had really great
Oh, yeah.
staff members. I cannot,
Well, I will have to shout out, like first time I ever came here when it was Nonna Rosa, I had no clue who Cody was.
yes.
And when we left, I said, that dude is,
Yes.
he's not overbearing, but he's
No.
the most attentive
Yeah.
waiter I think I've ever met in my
Yeah.
life. But he does it in such a way you don't feel like, okay, dude, just let me eat.
Yeah. No,
But I sort of got to know him then. He comes into the VFW when I do trivia there in Akron every couple Mondays he'll show up. And so I got to know him. But yeah. Like
He's a pro. He's a pro.
He's a
Yeah,
schmoozer.
yeah.
He's,
Yeah,
he's like a
totally.
used car salesman that waits tables. That's why.
And it shows, there was a post on Facebook from a customer.
Yeah, he's
It was amazing, the people that responded.
he's like a mini celebrity.
Yeah, he's good.
He's
Well, that's
Megan
certainly
and Heather and you guys.
Yeah.
You guys
You see,
really,
he knows like
You
the
got
majority of our stuff.
You got some really good.
So these are
hardcore
people that have been
here.
here with us since the beginning. And so it's, it's awesome that, we've been able to kind of, foster that relationship with them. They've done really well here. We really appreciate them.
Well, you must, obviously, if they could go get a job anywhere else today if they wanted to,
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
you treat them well.
Yeah,
There's a
I
reason
mean, we
they're
do our
still here.
best.
Yeah.
I mean, we do treat them like family. There's our ups and downs. Like,
Yeah.
let's not be naive
Oh, well,
and think that everything is just
No.
peachy and rosy because
No.
we all have personalities and we all bring,
Yeah.
want it or not, we sometimes
Right.
bring our baggage to work.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of like hashing it out and being like, okay, let's just hit the reset button and then we're ready to go.
Yeah.
And that's with anything. I mean, that's with any type of job, and it's just
Oh,
a
yeah.
matter
Well, yeah,
of like,
you always have.
setting the standards. It's like, okay, I see you off today. What can I help you with?
Right.
What do we need to realign ourselves? Our focus is the customer. So what do we need
I'm
to do
used
there?
to the police world where the bosses don't have to be there. The department runs itself.
Right,
I mean, everybody in that department knows exactly what to do from the beginning to the end.
right,
Unless there's a major case where there's a homicide, and even then, you're gonna handle it until the upper people come in.
right.
It runs itself. Businesses like this is a lot more hands-on. I
Absolutely.
mean, you really have to,
Yeah.
it takes more of a toll on you.
It does, because then you're coordinating, the front of the house with the back of the house and figuring out issues. What's the root of the issue and how do we fix it and how do we stop it from
But
happening?
again, and in today's world, you sort of have to coddle your employees. In the old days, you just, hey, you don't like it.
Yeah, hit the brakes.
Yeah.
You can't do that today. And just the personalities or the, I don't know what you want to call it, but of the younger generations, like, you come down on them a little hard and they like get all like they need a safe space.
Yeah.
In the old days, it was somebody came and told you you're not doing something right and do it this way. You just did it. It was the way it was.
Right.
And so it is a whole different world to have to deal with employees in today's world.
Yeah, people are a lot more sensitive. Customers are a lot more sensitive. Yeah, you just have to be very thoughtful of like, how you're expressing yourself. I mean, and that's
tough for me, because Paul, and he's he
Yeah.
tried a little, but then
he shipped you up at a grill fast. Shape up or
just because he
down.
used to be a cop does not mean anything to me.
We know
I
you're
put him
right.
back in his place.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we work at it.
I'm sure.
And he turns my own wife against me.
Oh.
So it's like 4 against 1.
Fun. It's actually pretty good. You look at like, really?
I'm sure you do a good job of holding your own.
Oh yeah, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
No,
have
he
feelings
doesn't.
anymore.
He doesn't.
So.
Well, but you keep wearing him down, and he does change.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I don't change. It's that I get so sick of listening to it.
Yeah, you
I
just
might as well
give
just
it
listen to it.
Yeah, right.
That's the whole thing.
which is family and
Absolutely.
it's family. And I remember a time, and I'm going to tell this because this was hilarious for me.
Oh my goodness, what story is this?
I'm sitting at the bar, and you and your husband are off to the side, and you're having a discussion, right? And you weren't fighting, but it was I don't want to say heated discussion, but and you're speaking in Italian,
Okay, yes.
and he's speaking in Spanish,
Right.
and the two of you, and I'm like, and then you finished and you came walking over, and I said, I don't care what language you're speaking, I can tell you're not happy with each other. So I mean,
But that happens.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
it's real life, guys.
Well, right, yeah. And
Yeah,
that's,
it's real life.
I'm going to say one thing here, and I'm not telling you how to run your business.
Yeah, sure.
But like I'm not a big full meal guy. Like I like sandwiches and pizza. Like,
Yeah.
Not so much. I mean, I like lasagna and stuff. So when I would come here, there for a while, you could get your club sub and whatever, no matter where you sat in the building. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, one time
Yeah.
I came in, and now you can't. You have to be in the bar.
Yeah.
So I had Cody smuggle me a menu. But I gotta ask you, like that's okay, except if I come here with my wife and Paul and his wife, and there's only 2-seat tables in
At the
there,
bar.
and now I have to sit over here because there isn't a seat for me, but I can't get my favorite meals here. Like, I was pissed.
I'm
Well, I
sure.
mean, I wasn't pissed, but I found something else to eat.
Let's be honest, I was pissed.
Hey, but so is that still the rule?
So this is an identity struggle that we face, right? Because it's like, so we started off with a very concise menu. Okay, so this is like, so I'll back it up a little bit. So we're used to coming from a pizza shop menu where the menu is huge. So we're talking like 80, 90 line items on a menu.
Right.
You're ordering over 150 items from your food vendors. There's just a lot to keep track of,
Right.
and a lot of modifications. So you have tickets that are like novels because cheesesteaks come through and they're like, add hot pepper, add sweet pepper, no mayo, no sauce, sauce on the side. Like, I mean, literally, and that's just one
I get
sandwich.
that.
Okay, so then replicate that by like 5 sandwiches and like 10 tickets, you've got a disaster, right? So that's our background. That's where we're coming from. So we're trying to, focus more on like the quality of our food and the from scratch piece of it. And so that's like kind of like the core of the menu. So when we're designing a menu, it's like, how can we stay true to like the menu items that we have on our menu, and how do we stay true to the recipe and the process versus kind of industrializing this thing too. So it's this fine balance that we're trying to kind of keep, where we're trying to accommodate our bar crowd, because we know they want like the quick, like the sandwich and the finger foods and things like that. But then, at the end of the day, like, and a lot of our regulars live in that area, right? So, and Paul will tell you, like,
And
any
if I
day
was
you
here
walk
just for
in,
me, I'd live in that area too.
and it, Paul comes in, and anybody comes in, and it's I mean, we know everybody by name. People stay here for hours.
Right.
We know about their families.
Right.
Like, we celebrate birthdays together. So we've really kind of made strong relationships with the people that kind of hang out in that area, which has been cool. But at the end of the day, like, the dining room is like kind of where we serve the experience of what we're trying to get to. So it's just trying to find that balance between the two. And so if we start diluting then what we're truly about, then we kind of lose that essence.
You don't want
do you follow what I'm saying?
No, I do.
Yeah.
You don't.
And we do make exceptions.
And honest to God, if you had a 4-seat table, I like sitting in a bar. Like, I would pick to sit over there 9 times out of 9.
Depending on when you come, though, sometimes it is. And then we have customers that say, "Hey, I came for the bar, but there's no spots for me. I'm rolling over to the dining room. Can I still?" And we make exceptions and we accommodate. We really do try to. We do try to be customer friendly and not try to be complicated and make stupid rules. But
I just was okay. I like that club soda.
Yeah.
It really is good. And it always happens to me. Like years ago, Scooters over in Libbets I forget what it was called, some kind of sandwich. I loved it. And then all of a sudden they change their menu, and the only thing missing is that thing I liked. And then it happens again somewhere else. And then I thought, geez, now they got this thing. They still have it, but on this side of the line, I can't get the darn thing.
You just carry energy then.
Apparently, whatever I decide I want, I can't get anymore.
Man. Well, I mean, again, we really do try to accommodate.
No, I mean, I was just curious. Like, and in my mind, I'm thinking, what does it matter? They have all the ingredients but I get it now with the pickiness of people. Like when I get that, I just order it. It's not with this, without that. It's.
And we're not necessarily opposed to customers like modifying things, but we just don't. Like our vision is not for
you don't want to be
this place to become like
you don't want to be, and I get that.
And so that's
So one of the things that has popped up in the last time, 5-10 years, is like decks.
Yes.
Everybody has a deck. And I do. We really like sitting out on decks in the summer. And, you're landlocked here.
We are.
I would assume. I mean, you really can. Is there any?
We dream about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we dream of like of creating a space up top on the roof.
I was going to suggest the roof.
Maybe the roof. I don't even know how you would do that, but.
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure from a code perspective we would be allowed. So we were allowed a small patio area during COVID times because that's when they only allowed outdoor dining. Do you guys remember that? Like that summer. Yeah. So we were able to get an exception permit for that, and we had to put these like roadblocker type of things, and
then you lose parking.
Yeah, you lose parking, and so parking I think is probably the biggest challenge that we have here. And so we dream about it. I just don't know, like if we extend, then we lose parking, and then I don't know how you. It's already kind of like a tight space to get around.
I just thought I'd throw it out there. I kind of figured that was the answer, but
we dream. So it slows down a little bit for us in the summer, but honestly, like it wasn't. It was way busier than I expected it to be.
Well, and it does get to a point where it just gets hot.
It does, and so and so it's not, like honestly, really, it impacted us like the month of like July or June, July a little bit, and I think by August, cause people were so tired of the hot, of it being hot that they were like, I'm going inside. So it really wasn't. It was. I mean, we'd like it just to have that additional space to kind of like accommodate customers. But I don't know that it's physically feasible.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, we tried.
Like I say, I've never had any issue parking here, even when you're full.
Yeah.
Parking, and I got a pretty good sized truck, and I've never really had any issues, so that's a lot better than some places. We were at another restaurant earlier this week in Akron, and not only was their parking lot full, but their overflow was full.
Oh, wow.
We actually had to park on the street, and we had reservations.
Right.
So that that does become an issue. We've talked about that before.
Oh, yeah, parking is our deal. I mean, and compared compared to a lot of places, you have a pretty decent.
You do.
We do.
Yeah.
So what helps is that the businesses kind of use the parking during the day, and then come like 5 o'clock, then their customers are out the door, their doors are closed, and then that kind of leaves space for us to kind of.
Yeah.
So then we do have customers that kind of park in front of like the little strip mall over there. So it works out. We wish that we would have more parking, but.
Well, you really never have any advantage.
And even with that, like, we actually trimmed away a lot of tables when we took over the spot, the place. So Pura, I want to say, had an extra, like, 8 tables.
Yeah.
And we felt that it was a little too much, so we actually trimmed away some seats. So I'm not sure how those extra people would have found a place to park outside. Had the place been totally full.
Right.
And with that thought too, I've never really, every time we've come here, that we would have sat on this side, we never had to wait in any length of time.
Yeah, and I mean, we really do try to see people quickly. On Friday and Saturday nights, it does get a little, like tonight's gonna be a
I
busy.
do have one quick question. I mean, I don't want to hold you up, but you spoke of having, like at the Italian restaurant, the sandwich shop, such a big menu. How does any restaurant, like let's say Gus's with a 7-page menu, how do you even know what to order on a weekly basis? Like, you obviously have to have everything in stock to make anything on your menu. And you might go a week or two and never sell item number 78. How does anybody really come up with a plan that, okay, this week we need all this? And do you end up at the end of a month throwing a lot away because you just had to have it on hand in case somebody ordered it? How does that work?
So we don't run into that issue here a ton. Like here, just because again, we don't order as many items as a place. Yeah, we're making it. It's like flour and eggs and water and and then the veggies, and I mean we're seriously just kind of making it. I mean, flour and water are the biggest things we use, so it doesn't really go.
Spoiled,
it doesn't really go bad.
So I mean, because I'm not talking here, but your meals are, you get lasagna, spaghetti, whatever. It's the same thing in a different shape.
Right, exactly. And then you add protein in there and kind of switch it up, or maybe the sauce is a little different, so red sauce instead of cream sauce or garlic sauce. But to the core, like it's not anything that we or we would run out of, or we would spoil or whatever. So I know for like diners and stuff like that, I don't know. I think that they're either using a lot of dry products, maybe even frozen. So I don't know that spoilage is such a big deal. I mean, I've never worked at a diner, so I can't really tell you. But we go by inventory sheets. Like inventory sheets are like our Bible at the end of the week. And we really do try to have the same few people kind of do the inventory sheets and do the ordering, because they know. So like my husband will tell you off the top of his head, we're supposed to be keeping this much in stock of this item, this much in stock of that item, and so he understands exactly what level of inventory, and then he'll maybe tweak it a little bit to kind of account for a busier week. So for example, if we know that we're going to have, I don't know, 2-3 big parties in the weekend, we'll account for that. But overall, like it hashes out, and the same at in a pizza shop. It's just keeping the inventory sheet. We do. I mean, sometimes we run out of stuff. I mean, unless like somebody forgot to order XYZ, so we'll just. So luckily, Russo's a really big vendor of ours. They're up in Reading. They're like an Italian specialty market. So that luckily they're not that far away. So if we go get something, just hop on 222, and they're usually pretty.
That's good to get to. So many places you went and you ran out of something. It's like, well, I can't have it Wise. You could go over to Wise and get exactly what you're. And
what else you do, I guess.
No, we always try to make it. We really do try to. We really do try to make it work. So, yeah.
All right.
What is your favorite Italian? You're home with your family, and are you cooking, or is your husband cooking?
My husband does not cook.
Kids?
Yeah, so I do a lot of the cooking. So we're really into, probably pasta is our big thing. So like pasta with just plain tomato sauce sometimes is like all my kids really love and want. And so I've actually taught my little one how to prepare that. So she's like really excited when I get home, like, oh, let's make pasta, and she'll kind of help me put it together. So it's pasta, and then I don't know, my husband comes from South America, so sometimes we'll make like more traditional like soups from his culture. So like chicken soups or beef stews type of thing. They use a potato called yuca a lot, so it's like a boiled potato. Yeah, so I don't know. We kind of try to stick to our roots, and I don't know. We're strong believers that food is part of our culture, part of our family meaning, and so we really do try to stick to traditions. There are certain holidays like for the U.S. turkey is like for Thanksgiving, right? I'm not a turkey person either, but like there are traditional dishes that are associated with different holidays. We have kind of like some of the same things. Ours is more based around like the Catholic Church, and so so like in December it's St. Lucia, and then so we made like a few items that are very traditional to that time, and then in Easter we do a few other items. So anyway, so we do try to kind of stick to our roots and our culture and kind of carry on those traditions and those recipes, I guess you would say.
So where do you meet your husband? You're sort of from Italy. He's from, you just said South America.
Yeah.
Like Mount Joy, or where do you meet?
Trying to piece it all together. So I actually studied I went to college in Washington, D.C.
Oh, okay.
So I lived there for 4 years, and so that's where we met. We met in Washington. We got married. I lived in Alexandria area. We lived in Alexandria area, Virginia, for a few years. That's where my first child was born. And then we moved up here about 16 years ago.
Okay. And what's your degree in?
I studied languages.
Oh. We had a head start. You're in English and Italian.
Yes.
You were ahead of the game.
Yeah.
I listen to you talking at like when you old gentleman right there.
Yeah.
Music down.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I knew that.
She could have been saying that. She could have been telling that guy anything. We would have been in the difference.
I know. I can tell whatever, right?
I don't know why these jerks are saying
Yeah.
I don't know, get real.
They set the fire alarm.
Oh,
That's neat though. I mean, so how many languages? Like, can you speak how many languages?
And mainly 3. So it's English, Spanish, and Italian. I did study a little bit of German, but the years have gone by. Yeah.
So when you went to college for that, what was your game plan when you decided to study languages? Wasn't probably to own Nonna Rosa.
No, it was more probably translation or like government work.
Okay.
And then I interned for the government, and then I worked for a government contractor, and I don't know, it just wasn't my cup of tea. Yeah, and so then I don't know. The other thing is that we were very far away from family, so we had a good community of friends in that area. But I don't know. We always grew up like hanging out with cousins, at least when I was a kid. So after I had my firstborn, I really kind of wanted for her to have that relationship too. And so we decided to move up here. And so my sister, for example, Marissa has 3 kids. I have 3 kids. My youngest sister just had 1 year ago. My brother's expecting one. So anyway, it's nice for the cousins to kind of grow up together and, to have.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
And
built-in friends, I guess.
Again, it seems that one of our best friends is Italian. And he seems to be more family-oriented than, like I'm not very family-oriented. But Italians, I'm not judging him, it's probably a good thing. But it seems to be more, I think all ethnic people are way more family-oriented, be it Spanish, be it Vietnamese, whatever, than us plain white dudes. Like, I'm not a big family. There's people that are, but I don't think.
Yeah, when Mark went, when he goes and has dinner with his family.
Every Sunday. And that just don't happen.
For us, it's like a regular thing. I mean, and honestly, so we all kind of are in the industry, so it's really kind of rolling. Like, so we don't have a ton of time. We used to get together a lot more because you're tired by the end of the day. And then kids are a lot busier these days than they used to be back then. So you have a ton more activities going on, but we do still try to make it a priority and family is a big deal for our culture. Yes.
I mean, in that discussion that you and your husband were having, he's speaking Spanish and you're Italian, and then so they're growing up with that.
Yes, they are.
And I do hope that, that you guys are taking the time to teach them that, because, when I was growing up, my stepdad, he spoke Dutch. Okay, but I never learned it.
Right.
And I really wish I would have. I look back now, and that would have been really cool.
Yeah, it would have been.
To have another language. So your kids have a great opportunity with 2 different languages in the house that you're readily using.
Right.
It's not something you just put to the side. We're
Exactly.
going to speak English, and that's it.
Can your kids speak?
So they speak a lot more Spanish than Italian. The interesting part about that is that when you're young, you don't necessarily appreciate as much your background, your traditions, your language, and then when you're older, you're like, oh, shucks.
Yeah.
And so I do try to ingrain that in them. So yeah, we do our best. We'll see how it all kind of goes out.
I have enough trouble speaking English.
North Denver.
That
slips out.
North Denver, up the street here. We got our own language.
You can't say iron.
There's a lot of things. Well, I can say it, it's nobody understands.
Yeah, you do have an interesting twang to your English.
My own wife said, where do you come from? Like, she grew up in Akron, so.
Oh, yeah.
It's totally different.
Totally different.
Yes, but it's funny.
It really is. You just say that as, but it is.
Yeah.
Like, different words she says are
Like what?
Well, one of my, like, when I say parrot,
You say what, sorry?
parrot. Like, now that could be, depending on how it's used in a sentence, it could be a bird or it could be a guy on a ship.
Absolutely. I have a hard time even understanding
Or
that.
another one is Aaron. Like vanilla, Aaron.
Okay.
And there's...
But is this his version of the pronunciations, or is it just North Denver that says that?
Well,
think it's
apparently
pretty much on just my property.
I don't know. I don't know. He just did a trivia for the.
Oh yeah, I did a trivia for Calico. I graduated from Calico, but it was a class, not my class. I knew people in it, but when I did trivia for them the other Saturday night at the Livet Springs, nobody questioned anything that I like. What are you trying to ask?
Nobody did a double take.
When I
So it
first
must be something in the water over there.
when I first started doing it at Wacker Brewing, which is down in Willis Street,
Yes.
for months,
And that's a totally different.
every night they would have to say, "What are you trying to say?" And I had to spell stuff. And then regular trivia
It's a
players.
good thing you don't get offended by this.
No, I actually find it
Humorous.
but so it's sort of part of my gig now. But like now, people that have been there on a weekly basis for a year understand it.
Okay.
So if new people are there, they just translate. Like, here's
Here's
what he's saying.
They'll say it, and everybody will start laughing, and they have these people here. They
What did I say?
So I hold the mic up and somebody else is mouth.
bird.
Okay, you tell them what I'm saying.
You're talking about the bird.
That's hysterical. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, there's way more words than I think. Like I know a couple words that I say that people are going to get a kick out of. But then there's other words where I think I'm saying them perfectly fine. And yet I get kicked back to what?
That's awesome.
No, it is a lot of fun, and no, it doesn't bug me in the least. I sort of feel honored by the fact that I have my own language.
Yeah, you should. You should.
All right, well, anything else you got to add here?
No, I'm good. I mean, I appreciate you guys coming in.
You're open 7 days a week, right?
No, we are not.
Okay, I didn't even
It's Monday.
We are closed on
Okay, all right.
Yes. Don't leave that one day.
Well, no, and actually, somebody just told me, a restaurant owner, they used to be open 7 days, and they cut back to 5, and they found out that in those 5 days, they do as much business, and then you cut your overhead.
Right.
Because you don't have to start your own, you don't have to,
Well, in addition to that, you have like mental
Right.
clarity,
Yeah.
and you have a better, I think, team engagement too. I mean,
Yeah.
people need time off.
They do.
I mean, we all need to rest.
Yeah.
We all need to detach and come back like kind of with a breath of fresh air. So, no, it's important. Yeah.
Tuesday to Sunday. And
Tuesday to
the hours
Sunday,
are-
we are open for lunch through dinner. We have this awesome room back here to rent, not to rent, but to use for different parties. We kind of hold off on like reserving it for Friday and Saturday nights because we do use it as a dining room. So unless the party is like a substantial size, like 30 to 40 people, then we can accommodate parties any other day.
Okay.
We have parties on Thursdays, on Sundays, morning, evening, Saturday morning showers, for example, like baby showers, bridal showers, things like that.
Akron on top of the hill.
Yes, and then we're starting this new, we have a person on staff, Megan, and her friend Jody. We're going to start doing like craft nights.
Oh, okay.
And so they have a few slated for the month of November where people can come in and we'll give them a drink and a plate of appetizers and then they'll make a craft. So there's more Thanksgiving centerpieces type of thing. So we have that slated for November. We'll probably do something for Christmas and too. So yeah. So we're trying to kind of ramp it up. I feel like life is finally coming back to normal.
Yeah, I believe everywhere I go, it seems like we're over that.
Yeah.
Well, my wife and I have never had a bad day.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, no,
Thank you.
very good. Now, if you ever,
No matter what we get, we mix it up.
That's good. Thank
when
you.
you decide to cut your sandwich menu down to one item, make sure it's at close up. Scanning to a side.
Either that or we'll add 100 modifiers and be like, this is Kelly's sub.
Yeah, you can call it myself. I did, one time, now they didn't actually put it on the menu, but I used to hang out at the White Swan in Mossville a lot when we lived over there. And I came up with this idea. They used to occasionally have pizza night.
Okay.
Never any other night did they sell pizza, but they would have this. And I decided I was going to be on a low-carb diet. So I wanted cheeseburger pizza, but I didn't want the dough.
Okay.
So I said, take all them toppings and put them on a salad.
Okay.
And I called it the Kelly salad.
There you go.
And
So it's
people-
not a salad though.
Well, it was like a mix.
So it's greens?
Yeah, like a regular salad.
Okay,
Like
and then?
a garden salad.
Yeah.
And then on top of it
Ground
was
beef?
ground beef, bacon, and cheese.
Interesting.
And people would go in there, like after about a year, people would go in, and this was not on the menu at all, but they ordered a Kelly salad, and they knew what to make.
Oh, that's wild.
And then when they made a menu, they kind of opened the new menu, but they didn't just say cheeseburger salad.
They didn't give you that
They didn't
tribute.
expect, even though I invented it.
Trademark that.
I should invent food.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, I tell you what, you were a fun guest. I mean,
Oh,
I've never met you before.
Okay,
Not
cool.
only fun, you seem extremely intelligent in the business world.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's nice talking to you because you have a really great conversation.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's-
hopefully it's fun.
yeah, next time we'll have a beer maybe. We just
All
do
right.
it later in the day.
Yeah.
I apparently get up earlier than you because. But you're up much later than me.
Yes, we are. Yeah. Rest of my life is, we go to bed a lot later and then.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next week somewhere,
Somewhere.
either in the basement or